Updates on downtown projects like the upcoming Regional Justice Center and a parking garage are provided to city councilors. Geoff Epstein formally launches his campaign for mayor, and community members tee off on the golf course for an important cause, the United Way of Tri-County. I'm Brendan Fitzpatrick, and this is The Frame, Framingham News in Focus. Hello and welcome to The Frame, an initiative of Access Framingham. We start with the City Council's Finance Subcommittee and their meeting on Tuesday, July 22nd, as they heard updates regarding a number of plans within the downtown Framingham campus. That area has a number of projects ongoing and in the works, one of which is the new Regional Justice Center, which is planned to be placed at the Danforth Building on Union Avenue. Once open, it's slated to house multiple local and state courts, along with additional legal resources. Dennis Giambetti, the district liaison for State Senate President Karen Spilka, told legislators that a preliminary design has been approved, with the groundbreaking set for the late spring or early summer next year.
Things are going progressively very, very well. I know the Senate President is pleased.
Chief Operating Officer for the city, Michael Tassino, told the Finance Subcommittee about upcoming renovations needed for the Memorial Building within the next 5 years. A new roof this year, along with masonry repairs and renovations to Nevins Hall down the line. Tassino also spoke about the plan to build a parking garage with over 300 spots between the Memorial Building and the police headquarters, as members of Mayor Charlie Sisitsky's administration continue negotiations to acquire the 200 Concord Street property. While Tassino expressed confidence that those negotiations will bear fruit, District 7 City Council member Leora Malik called for a timeline for the garage's construction. Michael Cannon of District 4, meanwhile, said that his patience is running thin, as he questioned why the site has yet to be taken by the city through eminent domain, a measure that was previously approved by the council.
We've been talking about the garage for a while now. Is there, at what point are negotiations over and we just move forward with a smaller garage? But we need a garage.
This is a big project. It's a big staple of our municipal future in downtown, and we're not making progress within the timeline that the community needs.
Tassino later mentioned that renovations at 188 Concord Street, the site that will soon be the home for the Middlesex Regional Emergency Communication Center for both Framingham and Natick, should begin soon and take about a year to complete before operations can go live. An update on the teenager who was recovered at Learned Pond over the weekend, as the Framingham Police and Fire Departments announced that they have passed away. Emergency crews were called to the area at about 3:30 p.m. on Sunday, July 20th, for reports of a missing swimmer and a possible drowning. District 14 dive team members found the victim, a 16-year-old male whose identity was withheld by authorities, about 30 yards from the beach. Life support was administered at the scene before the victim was taken to Metro West Medical Center and then later a Boston area hospital, where he was pronounced dead. In a statement, Acting Police Chief Sean Riley said, quote, "We extend our deepest condolences to the family and loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. Our officers and first responders did everything they could, and our thoughts remain with everyone impacted by this tragedy." The Parks and Rec Department announced that while 4 staffers were at the pond that afternoon, no lifeguard was on duty. Geoff Epstein officially launched his bid for mayor of Framingham during a campaign launch event on Wednesday, July 23rd. The former member of the school committee will be running against the incumbent Charlie Sisitsky in November. Epstein has been highly critical of Sisitsky, pointing to his handling of school budgeting and infrastructure planning as part of his reasoning for running in the fall. Environmental protection and financial management are also listed as additional pillars of his platform, as he advocated for increased investment in schools, additional solar power installations, and more cooperation from local leaders with residents on development matters during Wednesday's event, as he spoke with attendees and answered questions. Epstein repeatedly referred to his bid as a quote-unquote grassroots campaign.
People have to come to public comment and support the things that I would be trying to do. I believe it's possible to do. I think you can change the dynamics in Framingham, which is what this campaign is also about.
Recent federal funding cuts have resulted in lost access to a number of databases across the Framingham Public Library system, but community members have since stepped in to provide assistance. Library Director Don De La Santa explained that about $3.5 million for Massachusetts libraries through the Institute of Museum and Library Services has been slashed at the federal level, meaning that Framingham's libraries no longer have access to 16 of its 21 databases, including the Boston Globe Article Archive and Britannica Moderna. However, access to 5 Gale databases have been salvaged in Framingham, thanks to organizations such as the Friends of the Framingham Library and the Framingham Turkey Classic Road Race. Framingham Veterans Council Chair Bob Downing runs the road race alongside local firefighter Tim Campion. Bob told us that he learned of the situation after speaking with De La Santa, who served in the Marines. $1,000 from the road race's collections were later provided to the library for these databases.
We just like to help. Like I said, Tim Campion, really like to help people. And like I said, when we come across programs like this or other people in need, we'd like to step in and help them out as best as we can.
De La Santa expressed gratitude for the help from local residents, adding that she and her team are continuing to plan for the future in order to ensure access to these resources.
We can't get too lost in what's happening at a federal level, but we just got to keep going. We got to keep our eye on the fact that there are people who are going to support us, and you'll be grateful for that.
More info on the top stories we cover each week can be found on our website, www.theframe.news, with written stories featuring additional details, full feature pieces we've completed across Framingham, and a community calendar with a bunch of upcoming events. You can be sure you stay in the loop with our local journalistic work. Subscribe to our email newsletter as well to stay updated with Framingham news in focus. And finally now, a preview of our frame-by-frame segments for the week. With the recent news that Framingham is now fully compliant with the MBTA Communities Act, we wanted to explain the entire situation from start to finish to keep you informed. That entire explainer video will air right after this episode of The Frame on Access Framingham, and it's also available on AFTV's YouTube channel, along with The Frame's social media pages. Before all that, though, the United Way of Tri-County recently hosted its annual Golf Classic in Hopkinton. Money raised during the event will be used to fund their locally based resources and initiatives. We spoke with key figures with the organization during the event to learn more about this important cause.
I think fundraising is critical, obviously, for any not-for-profit, especially within this political climate.
It's safe to say that the overall pool of money to nonprofits has diminished, while the need continues to go up.
Once again, all of our full frame-by-frame pieces can be found on our social media accounts. Follow us on Instagram at @FrameNews_, and search for The Frame on Facebook. Subscribe to Access Framingham's YouTube channel, and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever we upload new content. We post these Frame episodes onto Spotify, too. You can listen to or watch the show there. That's all for this week's Framingham News in Focus. On behalf of everyone here at The Frame, thanks for joining us. My name is Brendan Fitzpatrick. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.